You join me in the editing room. Welcome to another video of the Golf. Today, you'll cut to me from 2 days ago, continuing work on the car. So all that's left is change the oil, transmission mount, torque mount, and it should be good to go. This is currently Sunday. The car should be getting plates tomorrow.
Oh. Over here. I'll show you. That's your air cylinder. You keep 50 pounds of pressure in it. So what it does is when the jack is up, it forces it back down. It reverses the pressure so that it's for the difference between the hydraulic pressure and the air pressure, so that it will collapse once it's up in the air. The seal down here is leaking. So when you fill it up with air, the seal, because this is an air chamber right here, it's leaking. You fill it up, you hear it, and it just drains itself out. So if we try to jack it up, it won't come down. The other issue is if you hop in the back seat here, see how they're different lengths? One's down here, one's up here. This one's getting stuck. When you pull it, it gets stuck at the brake wheel. So the caliper's probably frozen, or we gotta tear it apart and see if it just needs to, maybe it's been sitting around. So when you pull it, this one falls off.
That's the noise.
And this one falls off. And then, these are supposed to be equal at all times.
Now, most people don't care about e-brakes. When you hear the e-brake doesn't work, they say, oh well, I never use it anyway. A bit of a hill. For reference, if my Focus is parked where the Blazer is right now, it usually rolls down the hill unless I have the e-brake all the way up. So the 16mm bolts are 36 foot-pounds, and the 13mm bolts are 18 foot-pounds. So what are you doing?
Making it new. To support the transmission. So if we put the wood like this with the jack there, just need a little bit of pressure. Mount it to the frame so that if something slips at first, it's still held. You don't unbolt these yet until you loosen them up and you're sure that it's loose. So first we got to get these two loose here, this one and this one, and then the mount should actually lift.
So there is a 13 here, which evidently snapped if I had looked. It's right there. It's a 13. Just make it snug. It's going to be right there. My finger is underneath the wire. So that is 18 foot-pounds, 75 foot-pounds. The engine is together. You didn't miss much. Just put in the air filter, the new one, and buttoned it up a bit. But it's good to go. I got lucky with a junkyard car and found a couple engine covers and such. So those are on. Obviously I'm not going to buy new ones, but I found them for basically, $5–10. So that's cool. This fender well is missing. A new one has been ordered on Rock Auto because this is only $12. So here we see our replacement shift boot to the absolutely destroyed one. The other one looks like this. So this is the ring. Normally there's an end on the end of it, but this was really cheap. This was $13, but you're just gonna slide it on and then push this ring down and it'll lock in. All right, so now our sport mode shifter is installed. Prime example of speaking too early. So obviously this is our cable. It's completely shot, and this is shot as well. Plus, yeah, that's a perk. Waiting on e-brake parts, cable, and boot, and all that stuff. That's going to be probably next weekend. I did get plates. Everything's legal, title, all that crap's done. So, it's good to go. We had one little problem. The badge I got, which was apparently the right model number, is too small. Next up tonight would be this. I'm just going to clean this, and you will join me then. Just, this bumper doesn't fit that great. Okay, so here you see our duct tape spots. So you may see a little bit of a residue here. Well, to put it bluntly, this duct tape has been on there for a very, very long time. And it doesn't want to come off. So the typical WD-40 Goo Gun stuff doesn't work. If it's anything like the tape up here, I had to use the heavy-duty shit. 3M goo remover and oven cleaner. Please note, I do not recommend using oven cleaner on car paint or paint in general unless you absolutely have to. This shit is super acidic, but it's the only thing that has made it come off on the top. And yes, this whole car is now going to have to get a wash because I'm going to have to wash the fender. You're going to take your old pant leg, which is, you know, exotic, and just... Now that it's dry and the entire down side of the house smells like oven cleaner, which I'm sure my mother is going to love. Here we see, you know, not perfect. So we have some residue here. This is not tape. That ate through the clear. Considering the tape was on there for a few years and didn't really want to come off, pretty good considering it's plastic. Up here you can see it's a little foggy. Okay, it's not coming through. But there's a little bit of fog to it in person, which is also from the tape, but I've seen worse. Maybe a buff and some wax will make this look okay, but again, you can't really do much about it. The duct tape was on here for a couple of years. Alright, so that's, we'll call that a feature. What you're gonna need is a 16 deep and a 16 shallow to start. Having things like WD-40 and a breaker bar, and if you're dealing with rusty metal, that helps too. You want to take that, break that, but here on the end, you're gonna need to put
all the bolt from spinning.
Your move the jack under here so when that shock bolt comes out, it's got some form of relief. Now what you're going to want to do is take a hammer and hit this. Once that's done, release the jack. Following that, what you're going to want to do is take these out. It's a 16. There's quite a bit of force on them, so either a breaker bar or a big ratchet. Nothing. Looks like 160,000 miles. Next thing you need to do is get your shock and you put these together. Like that. So what you need to do is you need to take the skinny end and kind of just force it in and get this rubber here kind of in. And once that is done, it goes like this. And then you put this nut on. So you take a 17 wrench. Kneel those pliers, rotate it, get it too tight. Following putting on the plastic cover, which may or may not be with your shocks, considering most people don't replace them, and probably is, you're going to put it in here. Sure, it's a long shot, but we'll just throw some bed liner in there.
Okay, so we're gonna change the emergency brake cable. So there's a nut here. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it on the camera? There's a nut here, and then you loosen it up enough to where you can take this off, and the cables are now free. Then what you end up doing is putting it back on and tightening the nut up, and it'll pull tension on the cables, which we'll show you later.
There's a pipe here.
It goes all the way up to where we just were. And that's what the emergency cable's in. So you unclip that. You take this off, which is just a retainer wire. Which is not designed to come off easy. At least they did that right. This clip here, you have to pry out. What you want to do trying to pull this out of here. Slide this right out of here. Of course the clip's broken, so now I gotta
figure something out.
modify that. See the retainer?
Mm-hmm.
And you just pop this off. And then the whole thing just comes right out.
Now it's in. Take your nut, snug. Once again, take your two sockets or your two ratchets. Same way it came in. Same way it came out. Put it back in that way.
Gotta find the 19.
Okay, shocks are done. Time to see how this is. Okay, so here we are, and it looks pretty good. I gave this a full cut, compound, wax, etc. And the car looks pretty good for what it is. That paint looks fine. It's a solid 10-footer now. So I'm gonna clean this glass. That needs to go back together. And obviously, this needs to come off, but it's very close to done. Well, if you don't live in New Jersey, or you live in the South, you may be aware of pine needles. This dude clearly lived near pine needles, because that's probably about 20 years of buildup. Everything is good to go for a test drive, so I'll see you then. So we have an issue that has popped up. It says one of the doors is open. So this illustrious machine, Craig Pest, is test driving it. Here we see the issue. The door just thinks it's open all the time.
I see. Push up or pull down? Push down. Right, so
Push it over reverse. We'll see how he thinks of this fine machine.
a mod.
So what do you think of this illustrious machine?
It's definitely, I approve of this one. It feels like my childhood. This is my childhood. I'm not used to
minus the exhaust leak.
No, with the exhaust leak.
So these Mark IVs have a gas gauge that is known to be intermittent or not working. I just noticed driving into town I had half a tank last thing I knew, and now it was on dead empty. Alright, it's just intermittent. Okay, starting with the positives, I just put 250 miles on the car on a variety of different driving situations. It does run and drive, it works, it's a car, and it's a manual. The radio is good, even though I don't think it's a base radio, and, well, it functions, minus that little door code, but besides that, it's a pretty good car. Temporary ones, like the exhaust and the glove box, they will get replaced as I couldn't live with that exhaust on a daily basis. The interior is falling apart, as is every 20-year-old Volkswagen. The passenger side door card is literally crumbling by where you put your arm to touch the window. So I may do something about that, I may not. The gearing is super long, so acceleration is a bit difficult. It does not like doing over 70. And I had to frequently downshift to maintain speed on hills. This is not the preferable car for me. I want my turbo back.
Now, if any Volkswagen guys watching this are a little bit off by my opinions, I don't hate the car. It's fine to drive, and, you know, if the choice was between that Golf or something with an automatic, I would drive that car. I've just put an extra 50 miles on it with basic commuting. But that being said, it does have its limitations. It's just, you know, I don't know what I was expecting. I was probably expecting a GTI, but it's very much a commuter car, and it's fine. For what it is very good. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like, favorite, and subscribe.